Welcome to this tutorial. So today we are building this timeline that looks a little bit different than usual. So we're starting by building a task list. Task name, start date, an estimate in days, a plan completion, then a current status, which should be expressed in as a percentage completion. Now, the task name is something, just description is a text that you would input. A start date, obviously, is when you expect the task to start. An estimate in days. And in order to calculate the completion plan, I'm using the Excel function work day. And I'm using it as is for the moment, but as you'll see down the track, I will just have to make a tiny change to accommodate for the grid. Current status, the same. So we are calculating the day where we should be in theory, and that will help us also for the grid. So I'm just using the same workday stuff. The difference is I am multiplying the current status by the estimate. This will tell us roughly where we are, where we sit there. And I will be calling this the current completion date. So here I'm just doing a bit of formatting on the dates. I'm doing a little bit more formatting, putting the top bold. Then I'm going to build a suite of dates. I'm going to start on a Monday, so this is why I'm circling this, the 5th of May being on Monday, because I just want to show 1 week here. So 1 working week, I only assume this time there's only 5 days in a week that are working, so I'm just add 1 day to the day on the left. The only exception is every 5 days, obviously, to skip the weekend, I'm adding 3 days instead of 1. And I'll be doing this all the way across. Just a matter of copying and paste moving forward. The next thing, I'll be merging the 5 days, which corresponds to 1 week. I'll be merging them, and I will be referring to the cell below. So I will be saying this is equal to, here in this case, the 5th of May. And next I'll be doing the same, merging everything and always referring to the Thursday that these merged cells would represent. Next, I'm going to do some basic formatting here. I just want to show the day. I don't need to remind everybody of the month, so I'm just putting a D here in a format, and I'll be putting that across. And then the format cell at the top, I just want to show the month this time, so I just put M, 3 M's. That will only show the first 3 letters of the month. And after, I'll be happily copying all the format across the rest of the rows there. And I'm just going to select everything, and I'm just going to try and squeeze it in a little bit to have more or less square, so everything is nice and tight. Okay, I'm just doing some basic formatting there, adding grids, more for a visual point of view so you can see what I'm doing. So the month, I'll just select a color. And just a reminder, I'm using the blue-green page layout color here. And I'm putting that as a white, and then putting the font as a white. So this blue will be used as a default fill, and I'm using this formula here. Is even to change the shade once every 2 months. So every 2 months we'll have a different shade. So the deep blue is what I've put by default, and then when a month is even, that will have a lighter blue. This is a trick I use to alternate the months, so it's a little bit clearer. So now I'm aggressively adding grids all over the place, and I'll be doing a little bit of formatting here. And the formatting I'll be doing is I'll be adding a thick border to the left. Just select the thickness, big thick, and just you put it on the left here. And then I'll be happily copying that across from left to right. Hitting the format painter all the way across. And that is it. Now I'll be picking colors. The first color I want to pick is a standard color, the deep red there. And for the second one, I'm just going to use the same one, but lighter. So I just put it back to the same, and I'm going back to more colors. And I put the slide up to have a lighter color of red. That's because this is not part of the standard colors that I have with the blue-green. Here, on the other hand, I'll be using one of the blues, the one on the right. And here I'll be doing also the one on the right, but a lighter shade. Next, I'll be using a kind of a green. There's more or less two greens to choose from. I'll be selecting this one, but I might change it to the other green in the end. I think the other green is a bit more woody, if you see what I mean. And the same, a bit lighter here. Then I could have stopped there and repeat, but I just went the extra mile for you guys. So I'm just selecting this orangey there, and I'm going to do the same trick as I did for the red. I'm just going to go back onto it, putting the same, and then I'm just going to put more colors, and I'm going to give it a lighter shade, sliding that up, and it's good. But now I've decided I'm going to give up, and I'm going to copy this across for the last three ones. So you can obviously make this as wide as you like. So here, this is the formula. This is where we need to concentrate. First, we have a look at the completion calculated that we have here. So we just need to make sure that we are within the time frame here. And I'm putting a Y for the current completion and the X for the final completion, the completion that we expect. So because I want to give it different shades. So it's worth for you pausing and having a look at this formula, because this is really the only formula we have. So here, and I've copied this formula all the way across. Now I'm copying the first column, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to paste it. But if I paste it, all the colors going to come. So I just need to be mindful of that and just only select copy the formula here. Otherwise, you're going to mess up all the work you've done. And here you can see it's beautiful, X and Y. I'm going to do a zoom here just to show you. Look at that. Only X and Y. So we're almost there. We just need to do a little bit of fine-tuning. And I'm sure Microsoft will be happy to see that I've been using this zoom on the cells, which seems to be a bit of an obscure function, but I've used it. Okay, so now I'm selecting everything. I'm going to do some conditional formatting. Home conditional formatting, and I'm going to apply a new rule on it. So the rule that I want to apply is the blank, sorry. Where is no X or Y, I'm just going to apply a light gray. I hesitate, not sure which one, maybe this one. We can always change it, don't panic. Okay, so this is it. This is already looking a little bit different. There's something else I would like to do is obviously remove all the X and Y's, please. Doesn't look good, so I'm just going to do the usual trick. Conditional formatting, new rule. But actually, I'm going to do something else before. I'm just going to do equal to Y. I'm going to change the pattern. I'm going to apply a pattern. Yes, we can change patterns if you want. So white pattern, and I'm going to put it from bottom left to top right. So that will allow us to still see the color. So you see there's a pattern, but we can still see the color behind. Okay, so now we are going back to what I wanted to do before. So as you've seen here, there's a challenge with the formula here. Excel, I don't know, you could debate about it. They decide to put the day after when a task is calculated using a workday, but that doesn't work when you want to do a Gantt chart type. So what I'm doing here, I'm removing one day. And now you can see when a task is only one day, for instance, it can see it only on one cell. Otherwise, it would show it on two cells. So this is one way to do it. I'm just doing it this way. I could have changed the formula, but I decided to keep it this way. So this is it. So let's remove those X, Y now, maybe, shall we? So in order to do this, we do a right click, format cells, and then I'm going where? I'm going under the number and I'm doing a custom and I'm doing 3 semicolons, because this way I'm saying if you are positive, negative, or 0 or text, I don't care, I don't want to show you. So this is what it's done. So it's already looking more like the east coast of the States. So here I'm just putting the task name in bold and I'm going to move it. You know, you have all these busy executives. Do they want to see all this detail? No, they just want to see the beautiful chart. So this way you can just hide all the columns if you like, so they can only focus on the chart here. This is it. So, and then, okay, I'm just going to move that up because I want to do a trick. I want to go under data and I'm going to do a filter here. I'm going to do a filter because I want to be able to sort however I like. So here, for instance, more or less started by the oldest to the newest. I can sort it the other way around. That's giving me a headache. So let's go back to oldest to newest. So here you can be sure that the tasks are sequential. And you can also sort by estimate, which doesn't really make sense, but it just gives you the shortest tasks to start with. And then you can sort by a lot of different things. Here I've attempting to sort by completion, which could be useful, but here there's only one completed task. That doesn't really help. So I'm just going to put it back by the sorted by start date. If you like this, I want to do something a little bit more usable, if you like, with dependencies. I really suggest you have a look at this Gantt chart, how I build a Gantt chart from start to finish in greater more detail and in a more, I suppose, a more professional looking stuff that people are more used to, I suppose. If you want to have a look at this, this is in the next in the video, in the link in the description.